But I go, can I just try another one? That moment comes and I just go, this is Sparta!
Gerard Butler's powerful roar of, "This is Sparta," became one of cinema's most memorable moments. But what audiences never saw was the incredible pain, chaos, and near madness happening behind the camera. Years after the film's release, Butler has finally opened up about the brutal reality of making 300, revealing secrets that show just how much the cast and crew suffered to bring this epic story to life. When 300 hit theaters in March 2007, nobody expected it to become such a massive hit. The film was directed by Zack Snyder and based on Frank Miller's graphic novel. It didn't have big-name stars or follow traditional ways of telling historical stories. Instead, it brought a highly stylized vision of the Battle of Thermopylae to the screen with bold visuals, slow-motion action sequences, and powerful performances that left audiences stunned. Despite being seen as a risky project by movie studios, 300 completely defied everyone's expectations at the box office. In its opening weekend alone, the film earned an amazing $70 million in ticket sales. This massive success shocked Hollywood, especially considering the movie was made on a relatively modest budget of just $60 million. The success didn't stop there either. The film went on to make over $456 million worldwide, becoming one of the most profitable and talked about movies of that entire year. The film's unexpected triumph proved that audiences were hungry for something different, something that pushed the boundaries of both storytelling and visual style. Beyond creating internet memes and becoming part of pop culture, 300 also inspired a major fitness movement that spread across the world. The incredibly sculpted bodies of the Spartan warriors, led by Gerard Butler's King Leonidas, set a new standard for what cinematic strength should look like on screen. Viewers around the globe began asking, how the cast managed to achieve such intense physical results. Soon, fitness magazines and personal trainers started promoting the now famous 300 workout, which was the high-intensity fitness routine that the cast actually used during their preparation for filming. This workout captured public attention and led to much broader conversations about fitness, masculinity, and the dedication required to transform one's body. Gyms across the world started offering Spartan-themed training programs, and the movie's influence on fitness culture continued to grow long after people stopped watching it in theaters. What most people don't realize is what was really happening behind the scenes during filming. Beneath all the roaring battles and stylized visuals was an absolutely grueling process filled with pain, sacrifice, and relentless effort that pushed everyone involved to their absolute limits. None of this suffering was visible to fans until Gerard Butler finally decided to break his silence and reveal the truth about what the cast and crew endured during production. Director Zack Snyder brought Frank Miller's graphic novel to life with intense visuals and groundbreaking digital techniques. He used advanced blue-screen technology and visual effects-heavy scenes to build an immersive, painterly world of myth and violence that looked unlike anything audiences had seen before. But behind all that breathtaking spectacle was a brutal reality that few could have imagined. According to Gerard Butler, the set of 300 wasn't just about creating cinematic glory. It was a daily struggle with injuries, complete exhaustion, and emergency visits to the hospital. In a brutally honest interview, Butler admitted that injuries were a constant problem during filming. He remembered that every single day, somebody was getting taken to the hospital for one reason or another. During fight scenes, actors would turn around to find someone on the ground with a spear that had gone dangerously close to their eye. In another instance, an actor fell badly and broke his ankle. Butler described the whole experience as completely insane. The battle scenes may have looked clean and perfectly calculated on screen, but in reality, the physical demands of filming often led to complete chaos. Even though the weapons were dulled for safety purposes, they still posed serious risks to everyone involved. During one particularly intense fight sequence, a spear came dangerously close to seriously injuring an actor's eye. In yet another incident, a cast member suffered a serious ankle fracture from a mistimed fall during an action scene. These weren't just isolated incidents that happened once or twice. The film required its actors to perform take after take of high-impact stunts, all while wearing heavy gear and moving through tight, confined spaces that were surrounded by blue screens. There was absolutely no room for error, yet injuries happened constantly throughout the entire production process. This dangerous situation was partly due to how Snyder chose to shoot the action sequences. Instead of relying on traditional stunt doubles like most movies do, many of the actors were strongly encouraged, or even expected, to perform their own fight scenes. While this approach resulted in more authentic and visually powerful footage, it came at an extremely high cost in terms of the actors' physical well-being. The performers pushed their bodies far beyond normal limits every single day. Bruises, muscle tears, and cuts became completely normal occurrences that everyone just had to accept. There were absolutely no easy days during the entire filming process. Every single moment of slow-motion glory that audiences saw on screen was built on sweat, pain, and relentless physical effort that few people could truly understand. Since so much of the movie was created through digital effects, the actors had to rely entirely on their imagination and physical endurance. They fought enemies that weren't actually there, swung swords against green screen backdrops, and had to maintain their characters' intensity through hours of repetitive, exhausting movement. It was like combining acting and extreme physical training into one incredibly punishing experience. Butler often described feeling completely drained, both physically and mentally, by the end of each filming day. Despite all the pain and constant injuries, the cast kept pushing themselves harder and harder. For Butler, playing a Spartan king meant embracing all the suffering that came with such an intense role. The scars and hospital visits were simply part of the price that had to be paid to create something truly special. The transformation into Spartan warriors didn't begin with makeup or costumes. It started months before filming even began, deep in the training rooms of a gym called Gym Jones, where Gerard Butler and his fellow cast members went through one of the most intense physical preparation programs ever seen in Hollywood history. To properly embody the warrior King Leonidas, Butler trained relentlessly for a full 7 months before filming started. His training sessions were incredibly long and completely exhausting, lasting up to 6 hours each and every day. This preparation included CrossFit routines, heavy bodybuilding exercises, intense sword fighting practice sessions, and relentless circuit training that pushed his body to its absolute limits. This wasn't anything like a typical Hollywood fitness plan that most actors follow. Instead, it was a complete physical transformation designed to turn ordinary men into mythic warrior figures. The training program was led by an elite fitness expert named Mark Twite at Gym Jones. Twite's methods were absolutely extreme, specifically designed to push the actors far beyond what they believed their bodies could possibly endure. With a no-nonsense attitude and a completely results-focused mindset, Twite combined high-intensity CrossFit exercises with traditional conditioning, serious weightlifting, and martial arts training. The training even included simulated combat situations to properly prepare the cast for their upcoming fight scenes. Even during breaks between takes on the actual film set, the actors continued working out, often lifting weights or doing other exercises to maintain their pumped-up appearance for the camera. This intense preparation wasn't just about looking strong on screen. It was about actually becoming genuinely strong in real life. The Spartan warriors had to appear as if they were carved out of solid stone, but they also needed to move with the power and precision of real soldiers who had spent their lives training for battle. The idea behind this extreme training was to build not just impressive-looking muscles, but true functional strength and endurance that would show up on camera. The cast didn't just lift regular weights like most people do at the gym. They flipped massive tires, swung heavy kettlebells, sprinted through challenging obstacle courses, and performed countless push-ups and pull-ups in rapid succession without rest. Martial arts training sessions were repeated over and over again, blending carefully planned choreography with real-world fighting movements. The goal was crystal clear: to prepare the actors not just for making a film, but to prepare them as if they were actually going into real battle. Gerard Butler has spoken very openly about how incredibly punishing this training became over time. He later admitted that the intense preparation nearly destroyed his body completely. The constant wear and tear on his muscles and joints led to extremely painful injuries, including tendinitis, serious hip damage, and a torn rotator cuff that caused him constant pain. At one point during the training process, Butler could barely lift his arms due to the incredible strain he had put his body through. but he pushed through all of this pain anyway, driven by his absolute need to truly embody the character of Leonidas in every possible way. His dedication wasn't just physical, but also deeply emotional and mental. Butler later revealed that the training was actually ruining his body, especially during the actual filming process, when the physical demands never let up for even a single day. Long days spent on the movie set were followed by continued workouts, sometimes just to maintain muscle definition or to prepare for the next big action scene that was coming up. It became a never-ending cycle of extreme effort and complete exhaustion that seemed like it would never end. The training didn't stop when filming finally started. If anything, it only got much harder and more demanding. Butler said that the constant pain actually helped him reach the true intensity that a real Spartan leader would have needed. For Butler, playing Leonidas was about much more than just memorizing lines or hitting the right marks during scenes. It was about truly suffering, making real sacrifices, and earning every single moment that appeared on screen. According to various reports, Butler's approach to embodying Leonidas was completely unconventional and deeply immersive. He meditated regularly, claiming that he tried to channel Leonidas through a weird portal to connect with the character on a spiritual level. For Butler, it wasn't nearly enough to just act like a warrior when the cameras were rolling. He wanted to truly experience the actual mindset of a man who would lead 300 soldiers into what they all knew was certain death. This meditative practice became an essential part of his daily preparation routine, helping him dig deep into the character's soul and bring a sense of genuine realism and emotional power to his performance. This incredible level of commitment extended far beyond just internal mental work. Butler also chose to perform many of his own dangerous stunts, despite the serious physical risks that were involved. He believed that doing the action sequences himself would make his performance much more authentic and believable. It wasn't simply about trying to impress the audience with his toughness. Instead, it was about truly honoring the role and the character he was portraying. In one of the film's most important battle sequences, Butler threw himself into the action with such incredible energy that he later described the experience as one of the greatest adrenaline rushes of his entire career. Every swing of his sword and every shout of defiance came from a place of complete emotional and physical investment in the character. This intense level of involvement wasn't without serious danger, though. Although the main film was shot in a controlled studio environment, Butler and the rest of the cast were no strangers to real-life risks and dangerous situations. The intense physical demands and creative challenges of making 300 created something unexpected among the cast members, a deep bond of brotherhood that went far beyond typical professional relationships. Playing King Leonidas, Butler carried the weight of leadership both in the story and during the actual filming process. He later spoke openly about how absolutely essential the sense of unity among all the actors was to properly capturing the true spirit of ancient Sparta. The ensemble cast, which included talented actors like Lena Headey, David Wenham, Dominic West, and Michael Fassbender, weren't just co-workers or fellow actors. They became genuine training partners, emotional support systems, and most importantly, real teammates who looked out for each other. Butler described the entire experience as completely transformational, explaining that their deep connection helped them feed off each other's sauce, energy, and push through even the hardest and most challenging parts of filming. He emphasized that the trust and genuine friendship among all the cast members became just as important as any choreography or dialogue in making the Spartan brotherhood believable and authentic on screen. From the very beginning of the project, the entire cast was thrown into the same punishing physical training program, with grueling sessions that lasted for hours each and every day. They worked side by side, often in complete silence, pushing themselves through the incredibly difficult 300 workout that left their bodies aching and completely exhausted. But these intense training sessions weren't just about building impressive muscles. They were actually building real loyalty and genuine friendships among the actors. The actors didn't just suffer through the pain together. They actively supported one another through the worst moments, cheered each other on during the most intense training drills, and shared meals, recovery time, and laughter during the few quiet moments they had between takes. For Butler and his co-stars, these brutal workouts became a kind of daily ritual that brought them much closer together, mentally preparing them and aligning them with the warrior characters they were going to portray. Butler often talked about how this shared suffering created an incredibly powerful sense of respect and genuine brotherhood among everyone involved. He recalled in one particularly memorable interview that by the time filming actually began, the cast had not only formed strong bonds, but had developed a kind of unspoken understanding of each other that was almost telepathic. The film's legacy extends far beyond just being a successful movie. When 300 hit theaters in 2007, very few people could have predicted the massive cultural impact it would have on society. What began as a stylized adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel quickly grew into a global phenomenon that influenced not only cinema and filmmaking, but also fitness culture, advertising, fashion trends, and popular culture itself. One of the most remarkable things about 300 was how it set a completely new standard for visual storytelling in movies. The use of high-contrast color effects, digitally enhanced slow-motion combat sequences, and dramatic lighting techniques helped establish what would later become Zack Snyder's signature visual style that fans would recognize in his future films. This highly stylized approach created an immersive world that felt both ancient and mythic, more like a legend that had been passed down through countless generations than a traditional period drama or historical film. This distinct visual style inspired a whole wave of films and television series that embraced similar techniques and aesthetics. Beyond just influencing other movies and shows, 300 left a lasting impact on fitness culture around the world. The incredibly chiseled and muscular bodies of the Spartan warriors, especially Gerard Butler's portrayal of Leonidas, became a new standard and goal for male fitness ideals everywhere. The famous 300 workout that was originally developed by trainer Mark Twight specifically for the cast was quickly adopted by gyms, personal trainers, and fitness enthusiasts all over the world. Before 300, Gerard Butler was a relatively unknown actor who was still trying to make his mark in Hollywood. Though he had shown flashes of real talent and natural charisma in earlier performances, such as his role as the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera in 2004, he was still far from being a household name that people recognized. While these earlier projects gave him some exposure in the industry, none of them provided the kind of major breakout moment that could launch him into global stardom and recognition. That life-changing moment finally arrived in 2007 with his absolutely unforgettable portrait of King Leonidas in Zack Snyder's 300. The film completely transformed Butler's career practically overnight. As the fierce and fearless Spartan king, he commanded every single frame of the movie with incredible intensity, impressive physical presence, and a roar that would become one of cinema's most iconic and memorable lines. "This is Sparta." His performance connected with audiences not just because of the character's obvious physical strength and fighting ability, but because of the genuine conviction and emotional depth that Butler brought to every scene. He threw himself completely into the intense physical preparation, endured months of punishing training, and delivered a performance that felt raw, powerful, and completely authentic. Following the massive success of 300, Butler became one of the most sought-after leading men in all of Hollywood. Casting directors and movie studios quickly recognized his natural ability to carry an entire film, especially in roles that demanded both serious physical intensity and genuine emotional depth. He began landing much bigger and more important roles, stepping into both action-heavy projects and romantic leading man parts. In the years since 300, Gerard Butler has carved out a lasting and impressive presence in Hollywood that shows no signs of slowing down. The film didn't just elevate his career to new heights, it essentially defined what kind of actor he would become and what audiences would expect from him. It gave him a truly global audience, a signature role that people will always remember, and a solid platform to explore a wide range of different characters across many different genres. For many fans around the world, he will always be remembered first and foremost as King Leonidas, the fearless warrior who made even death itself look like destiny. But for Butler personally, 300 was really just the beginning of an incredible journey that turned him into one of modern cinema's most recognizable and enduring action stars. The lessons he learned about dedication, sacrifice, and pushing beyond perceived limits during the making of 300 have clearly influenced every role he has taken since then. The behind-the-scenes story of 300 reveals that creating cinematic magic often requires real sacrifice, genuine pain, and an unwavering commitment that goes far beyond what audiences ever see on screen. Gerard Butler's willingness to finally share these stories gives us a deeper appreciation not just for the film itself, but for the incredible human effort that goes into making movie magic happen.